And it's also related to another ritual. It's ritual of melting the Marzanna. Marzanna is a god of winter. So after the winter, people were making this flower crowns. Then they were putting this onto the water and burning it as saying goodbye to the winter and saying hello to to the spring. So all of this is connected to the nature and how the nature is dictating human life in countryside.
Welcome to the show, Tomasz.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. I'm really happy that I can share you with my work.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you on. You have a couple of projects that are coming up that I'm really excited to dive into. And I was exposed to your work through Urbanaut, and I thought it was just awesome. And so we had to get you on the show. And so I was really excited to kind of dive in to your work. So just to start off, for my audience, introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm Tomasz Kawecki. Work mainly with photography. I finished my bachelor degree last year. I am from Poland, from Krakow. I studied in Czech Republic. I'm also started my studies a little bit later than usually people do in Poland. First years I spent studying architecture, but I just quit it in my second year to start travel, explore a little bit of world. I hitchhike. I spent my life in a journey. Then I lived in Reykjavik in Iceland for 2 years. And then I decided that I want to go back to study. Also photography somehow stick into me before, like way long before I even, I don't know. I was around 15, 16 when I started using cameras. And so it was kind of, as tool that was always with me. I never had in my mind that I'm gonna be, diving more into it. It just happens naturally. I think so.
Well, I've read about you and you, the way you use the camera at first. You were kind of exploring and observing your world, and I'm kind of curious. Before you were a photographer, what were you like?
It's before. I'm not sure. If I can say before or after.
It's all.
I started using more my camera on Iceland. I just photograph everything, everyone, very compulsively. I was doing a lot of snapshots. I wanted to my photograph be as real as it possible, just to catch something that will, say some true about the world. Then I realized that doesn't work exactly like that. But I really like my images from that time. They are not great images. They are not the best ones. They're merely good, probably, but they show me a lot about this medium, that it can work as a mirror. That was my, first initial to, how to say it, self-awareness of photography when I start to think about it more. That it can, you can use this medium other than in a touristic way or the way you want to just take nice photo.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. You had mentioned it was kind of like a mirror, right? And
Hmm.
what do you mean by that?
I was a little bit younger than I'm now. That was kind of rough time in my life. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was a lot of. I was a. I wasn't a party person, party beast, but I like to go out. I like to spend time with people, and I also like to, like use a lot of alcohol, other things, and I never question it. Like somehow I saw myself in these images, how I spent my time. And then, I realized I want to maybe do something different with my life and think about it more.
So in some ways, you were catching trails of your existence inside of your camera, and so you were kind of watching yourself, and it caused you to reflect, is what you're saying.
Yes, basically.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's really interesting. And so, like, were you shooting film, or was it just like digital cameras, or
I
how
was
did you
shooting
find your
film.
way in? You were. Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, I was shooting film,
That's
but also, yes, give me, a lot of thoughts. If I really want to do this photo, if I need this, is anything there? But I also done a lot of films in on Iceland. I had
yeah.
many of them, too many.
So
Mm,
so I'm imagining younger Thomas, and he's jumping from place to place, in Iceland, and then making his way to the Czech, and kind of like reflecting and using a camera as kind of a diary in some ways.
yeah,
And so
you can
I'm
see that.
curious, when did you, yeah. When did you start to take it a little bit more seriously and start to do something a little different?
I think it happened during the studies because I started to think about my work as a one project. I started to looking for different approaches. My interest has changed. I came back to my country. Wanted to discover a little bit more about my roots. I start to work with people. I really like to this slow way of photographing, where you're standing with your camera for 1 hour before you're gonna take a photo. You spend time with people. That was the first thing I started to look other than just catching snapshots of my life. And then also COVID starts. Before COVID, I also started thinking about questioning the world I'm living in, how it works. I also always loved nature, and I'm not a social person. After I spend time with people, I need to rest somewhere alone, and I start to connect all of these things. I start to look for something. Then COVID came. I lost my job. I went to my countryside where I spent childhood, and then I start work with my first long project called the Lair, which was also awarded, and that's why we've met today.
I'm always curious. This has come up a couple times, and where someone is from a place, right? It says you went back home, or you went back to a place of your childhood. There's something about leaving, I think, that is important. It's like I've done it myself. I'm from the United States, and but I noticed that I changed a lot when I finally left the city or the town that I was from, and hit the road and left. I've done it twice now, traveling the United States because it's huge, and then now leaving Texas to come to Europe. And so, but there's something about that, and I'm curious because I know what it meant for me, but I was kind of curious about you. You picked Iceland, you decided you went pretty far away.
Yeah,
And,
I wanted to,
you wanted a big change. Is that what you were looking for, or was it?
Yes, I wanted, do changes. I wanted to, go away as far as possible from my country. I wanted to, destroy, change everything. It's how it works probably when you are 24 years old.
Yeah, some of us never grow out of it.
Yes, maybe, probably. Yes.
No, it's once you have that, it's and once you kind of do it and then you survive it, you kind of, I don't know. I have found that some people, they go back, and since they have left and they change, they come back. Now they know how to kind of be where they are. But some people, they just get that itch and they take off again, So it's kind of interesting. I was curious about you. When I read about you, you're someone that seems to love nature. You're connected to the earth in a lot of ways. You're a very open person. It takes an open person to travel a far distance and learn a new language and do all these different things. And so I was kind of curious about that transformation and how that fed into you coming back home and doing the series that you did, in that photography series that you did, because you can tell you were, and I had read that you had said that you had new eyes, and you were.
Yeah, I said I was more aware, but what I'm thinking, it seems so far away. It's hard to go back there, but I'm trying, doing the best.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
Yeah, so many thoughts right now. So let's first go back to the thing that you said. It's nice to destroy everything, start again, rearrange your life. It's giving you a lot of space, for this creative part of you. At least that's how it works with me. It seems like every project it's like doing, like rearranging your life, doing something from the beginning, change everything, destroy what was before, do it again. But I never planning it, it just happens naturally. Yeah. I didn't know that I'm doing new project until I had, bunch of photos. I started to show my friends. They just said, yeah, man, you did a great project, nice body of work. But I didn't realize it, it just happens naturally. The COVID starts. I lost my new job. Right after I came Iceland to Poland, I was working in a studio as an assistant, lighting assistant. Then I lost this job. I wanted, to just go really go back to basics, to my roots. My roots were in my countryside house, where I spent my first 3-4 years with grandmother. It was this beautiful childhood in nature. That's probably why I am romanticizing so much this natural world, forests. And after all of that time, I came back. These things happened. I came back to to this house, these roots, to find it again. And the first thing I've done in this house, the first photo I really like in this project, I think it's one of my favorite one, is this Strowman, ho-ho, called in Slavic folklore. So basically it happened like that. I came back to house. It was full of stuff. My grandmother haven't cleaned it probably for 20 years. You had a lot of dry flowers everywhere, dust gathered on there. You have to do something with it, because you couldn't breathe inside. We have to throw it out. I'm saying we because I moved there with my girlfriend, Ola. So we start to cleaning everything. and we decide that we're gonna, somehow give tribute to my grandmother because of her work she'd done with gathering those flowers. They had like a huge sentimental value for her, so we decided, we're gonna make this straw man according to some Slavic rituals, and we just made it. We go with this into the forest, and then we just burn it, and photos happened accidentally between the, our I don't even know how to say, because I'm not sure if it's installation, if it's performance, if it's site-specific art, it just happens, basically.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I'm making projects. I am somewhere, I'm start to doing something. I'm always doing something. Then I'm photographing it. I'm observing a lot. It's not like I'm working from... I'm planning everything. Actually, my new work is a little bit... I plan something, I'm going to go there. I'm going to take some photos. But basically, it just happens naturally. I used to have my camera always with me. Maybe it's somehow connected with how I started, using this medium. But I really also like to, arrange stuff. I like to work with the image itself and how the observer is looking at it. That he's questioning: is this happens? It really happened, or he arranged it? How it worked? He find it. That's what.
So, did you grow up there? Did you grow up in that house, or did you just visit?
It was more like, a countryside house. I spent there every half of the year of my first 3 years of life.
So you remember that house?
So all my childhood is there, and it's just beautiful. I think came back on my photos like naturally.
It's an interesting experience to go back to a grandparent's house, where you don't necessarily live, but you spent a lot of time and you remember and you have your footprints there, and they don't usually kind of let some of those things go. And when you unpack those places and you were doing the cleaning, which I think is a perfect way to discover these things. And I bet you were just like, just cleaning up one room or whatever. And you're like, oh my gosh, so look at this thing, like, wow, look at this. It's like, that's the toughest part about cleaning things that are like memories. It takes way longer when it's like that too, because you're like, hey, I remember this, and so I can imagine that. And that series kind of invokes that kind of discovery and playful nature and stuff like that I really, really like in work. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and ask you a little bit about your education and kind of talk to you a little bit about any inspirations you might have found at that time. Like when you started to take it seriously and you're like, I'm doing something different with my photography. What did you find in education that inspired you? Did anybody inspire you? Sometimes, they teach you work ethic, but the other part is I hear some people, they go, they taught me about some of my favorite photographers, but was it important for you?
Education, the classes, the things I had to do to pass from one year to another, not so much, but the people I met, the bonds I've done with the people, the friends, they was the most inspiring thing. Also, I am kind of like self-taught artist, photographer, whatever. So I love to watch a lot of photo books. I love to watch photographs. But I never had something that I sticked with, someone's work with a photographer, or I like many things. Like I'm taking some part from this photographer, some parts from this. I'm giving a lot of from myself. I'm mixing everything. It's kind of like a postmodernist philosophy when everything already had been done, so you cannot do anything new. New things doesn't exist. They are boring already. So you are like like a DJ or a rapper who using samples, and you mixing everything, trying using this weird alphabet that past generations made. If I
love the
have
DJ.
to say
I love
one
that
name, if I would have to say one name of a photographer that I loved from the beginning till now, I think it's Diane Arbus. Maybe it's a cliche and like mainstream photography, but I really love how she connected with the people she photographed. Also, this feeling she was looking for or had in her, that I think it was, if I had to say a name, but
yeah
I love many things in photography. At the same point, I'm not trying to be inspired too much by photographer or an artist. I'm always trying to things somehow stick in my head, in my background. I'm trying to mix everything with, it's maybe I'm just repeating myself, but
no, I think you're not repeating yourself at all. No, but you had a great analogy. I haven't heard the DJ one. I've heard that, everything has been done before. There's really nothing new under the sun. I've heard that 1,000 times. And but to kind of look at it as the postmodernist style of kind of being a DJ and sampling, that's a really good connection. And I'm kind of curious, along your path, was there anybody that was significant for you, that helped you become more confident as a photographer? Was there anybody or that was significant for you?
Few friends.
Yeah.
Jan Jurczak, he's also a photographer. Now he's becoming a camera guy, operator. I don't know how to say in English.
Camera operator,
the guy who is
probably filmmaking,
standing behind the camera.
Yeah.
Also, Daria Izborska, she's my friend from the very beginning of my interest of photography. And my biggest inspiration and the person who is helping me always, no matter what, is my girlfriend Ola, Aleksandra Przybysz. She's also an artist. She's a sculptor, really good one. She had the biggest influence on me, I think, from everyone I know, and she's the biggest support always. So big credits for her, for sure. But I'm not sure. These are people who are around me. I don't have artist god or photography god who I'm following.
You had said something earlier about you when you first started photography, and this will probably be how we transition into the next piece. But you were mentioning when you were in Iceland and you were trying to just make the most realistic photo possible. And then you realized that was impossible. And I'm kind of curious, is that kind of what transitioned you into kind of doing something a little different? And talk to me about what you discovered there, because I think there's something really interesting about that.
I realize how much of creation of reality you have as a photographer, as a visual artist who is aware of how the images works. For me, every image is a code to solve. Some people, can find those same things as you. Some have different layers. Some part of the image is, for everyone a little bit different because of our different backgrounds. but some of the things are similar for everyone. And I on Iceland, I also showed my photos to a lot of my friends, people, and I started to thinking, if you can add so many things from you, just by switching the places of the photographs, you can say something completely different. You have so much creativity, things you can do after you also take photo. How you gonna take it, who you gonna be as a photographer, what kind of relationship you will make. You can, if you're aware of all of these things, you can arrange this reality when you're trying to be, as real as possible. Even then you can do, by yourself. So I started to arrange more and more and more. And it was fun, I really, really enjoy it. So probably that's why I move into that direction. The reflecting thing was the first thing I discovered that had deeper meaning for me. So I wanted, to try more, to see things in a different way. And it's also probably has the connection, with rearranging yourself, with changing your life, as we talk at the beginning, the things with the journey. Maybe, I started to do the journey, not packing everything I had into backpack and go away, but just with my work. I like to experiment. I like to try new things. I also things, even if my interests are similar in each of my projects, I think the approach, the form, the output is different completely.
How would you describe your style? How would you describe what it is that you do or you try to do?
As I said before, I'm not trying. So when I'm trying, I don't like my things. I don't like my photographs if I'm trying. I also discovered something really banal last year, that if I'm gonna get rid of the color, the medium is changed. It works in a different kind of way. It is obvious, but it's always fun, to try something a little bit different. And if I would start repeating some pattern which worked in my previous work, I think I would get bored really fast. So that's why I like to, always try to do something new, to change something a little bit. Maybe stick with the concept, do something a little bit different. I don't know. It's so. As I said before, it's so always in the move, It's always changing. I cannot describe it. It's at least me, describing is boring. I really would like to do new things.
I think to you, and what I've noticed is that there's an intuitive, playful approach. It's intuitive. It comes from something deeper, and you're kind of allowing your creative side to expand without limitation is what I'm hearing. And I really, really like that. And you can see it in the work. So before we slide over into that first body of work, kind of talk to us a little bit about that journey back home. And you started to take photographs, and take us into that project. Give us the title and tell us a little bit, and then we'll just start jumping into some of the images.
So maybe I already start with sharing the screen.
You could, if you want. I think you have a really good story, and so I wanted to jump right into that, but we can do it.
So the name of the project is called a Lair. It's not a liar, it's a Lair. It's the nest of the wolf. It's the place where you are coming from, the place where animals are hiding. I really like this poetic poetics of this title. And as we speak before, I came back to my countryside house where I grew up. I did not grow up there. I spent there my childhood. This first childhood. I cannot remember anything from my childhood except the memory. I have only memories from this place. I remember some things from there. As we speak, after another journey, I wanted to come back to the roots. To start everything from the beginning, to find something about myself, about my family, about this place. I had this feeling in me that is the thing that I should do now. So I just follow that. And this house belonged to my grandmother. It was like a holiday countryside house. She spent there every half of the year. She probably would spend more time there, but the house is not prepared, for the winter and for the colds. It has a roof made from the fence. 80s in Poland was a very creative time for people. You didn't have much things. You cannot just go to the shop, buy, all the things you need to build the roof. You just had to be creative how to create a roof in your home. So it's just metal fence. It's the roof there. So it's very. It feels real, this place, in so many ways. Also, it was storage for my grandmother, because she was collecting a lot of artifacts from the forest, like roots, like muscles of the snares, like stones. She was really crazy about that, because I can show you one of them. It's huge. It's a really big one. It's this one, but you cannot see. Okay, so you have to trust me. It was like really, really big one, and she had to do it in few steps. One step was one day. Because it was really heavy, she just, went to the woods, brought this root a little bit closer to the house. Then next day she came back, do it again and again and again. So she was really, into it. It was really something important for her. And she also is a person, who was a guide to this natural world. She is a biologist, mycologist, so she works with mushrooms, and she also loves to pick up them, and all of that stuff she teach me when I was 2-3 years old. So maybe that was my first art teacher as well, in some weird way.
I love this picture. I love this.
It's one of my.
It's so. What does your grandma think about this one?
As she said to me, she really don't understand why I'm picking the ugliest and the worst photos I made of her. But she's fine with it, but she just don't understand why I pick this one,
Yeah. It seems like your grandmother is really important to you.
Yeah, she was like a mother to me as well. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. I was raised by them in the first years of my years because my mother was studying, then she was working. So basically that's how it worked.
So you already have kind of a nice connection with her, and that's wonderful. And this is the scarecrow that you were talking about.
It's more like a straw man.
A straw man, or yeah.
it's you are not putting this in the field, to scare the crows. It's more related to Slavic folklore. Because before the winter, on the countrysides, people to protect plants from the cold, they were using these straws, to surround them, to survive the winter. And they have this mythical, magical analogy in Polish literature, culture. They were these mystical creatures that, they were alive. It's some kind of animistic belief. Also, my grandmother is kind of animistic believer. I think she's not aware of this because she declared herself as a 100% Jesus belief person. But for example, to all her roots, she gave them names. She, treating these things as her friends sometimes. She's surrounded by them in countryside as well as in her apartment in Krakow. And I also, as I said, I wanted to go back to the beginning. I also start looking through the archives. I was looking at her photos. This is my grandmother during her wedding in the 50s. It's my grandmother on this weird swing because when she was young, she also spent her childhood with her grandmother in countryside. So it's kind of loop as well between our lives.
It's a interesting kind of look at your grandmother and family, and this all happened after being gone for a while and kind of leaving, tearing everything apart, and then putting everything back together. As you came back, was there anything interesting that you discovered?
No, I discovered that what connects me with my family, with what's our relationships, what is this house, how I related to it, but also I started to look for things in my work at outcome of it that are more not only about myself because it's boring for everyone else. I wanted, to create this story about human, his relation with the nature, how it's related to the culture. I discovered that there is something called animism. And I also, I'm aware of that now, that I believe in some things. It was also kind of spiritual journey of understand. Also, I deal with my grandmother aging. And also during that project, I came, I came back to Poland. I came back to my grandmother. I took care of her. right now it's really hard to take photo of her. It's kind of enough for me. I know it's gonna sound bad because I really have to take care of her now. Like every stupid thing, like we have to go to the doctor together. We are calling to each other every day to check if she's okay, if she's still alive. She's, saying to me that she's gonna die anytime soon. So from the project, which is like really oniric and dreamy and, like this spiritual journey, I came back to the, crash with the reality and just, things that you have to do every day for her. So I think this project is completely over, but it's also interesting thing, when the project is finished, when the thing you are doing since, because I'm working on this project since it was before COVID, so it's probably 2019 or 2020. I'm not really good with the dates, but something around 3-4 years. It's very interesting when you are done with something. When you have enough of the project, when it's done, when you call it project to edition and then finishing it. It's it was the question which I had in the last year of months, if it's done, if it's not done, if it's finished or not.
Yeah, that is really touching. It's that is it speaks to a lot of us, that have somebody older in our life, and you see them, as a young person, you think they're going to be there forever, and you leave and then you come back and you start to realize that time is moving and you don't have that much time left, and that really speaks to that. I think that's really interesting. And it's really another part that I really like is animism is this idea that objects, things, and animals, they have a inherent spirit about them, right? They have an energy per se. And I can see you kind of playing with that. And I know your mom says, your grandmother says, she's, well, I'm Christian now, so, I don't. But it's really interesting that she's doing that with the wood, and then you make the straw man, and you're kind of playing with the nature itself, and it's really interesting. Do you feel like you got closer to nature in this project, or is it something that you had gained while you were out and you came back and you were just like, now I understand this place a lot more? Do you know what I'm asking?
Yes, I think so. The nature, I think the nature also was with me on Iceland. It's like maybe there is no nature on Iceland, but it's also this landscape have specific evoke specific feelings in you. Maybe I was more aware about this place, this house, this forest surrounded. I didn't know it can, this can have this magical value for me. I never look at the, my background, my country as something, at something interesting. I never thought it can be that enjoyable, that playful, that interesting. I don't know. This is a good answer.
Yeah, well, it speaks to that. It's you almost like when you're from a place, and that's where you grew up. It becomes almost invisible. I remember when I finally moved to one city, and I was talking to people that had been born there and they grew up there, and it was they were asking me, so what do you think of the city? And I go, well, I've been here, I've checked out this, and they go, you've seen more of my city than I have, and I'm from here, and there's something about that. I think that is interesting. And when you leave and then you come back to rediscover it as if you're discovering a new place, can lead to some really interesting
I know
results.
what I discovered. I discovered that you can really deeply focus on one place, to discover another layer. Then you find another one and another one. The way you can look at the world, that was also something new at the time for me.
Yeah.
That if you're gonna look, you can always find, another layer behind another one. If you're just gonna keep looking for you will find it. I think that's how it works.
Well, tell me about that burning straw man. Tell me about that one. I thought that was interesting. How did that come about, and why did you do that?
It
just for fun.
Also, yeah, it was for fun. It was fun, to burn something for sure. Especially with that sentimental value. It was also a relief. It was a sacrifice to Mother Nature. It was a tribute to my grandmother works. It was also, cleaning the house and doing something with all that thing, all things together. It was relief for sure. And it's also related to another ritual. It's ritual of melting the Marzanna. Marzanna is a god of winter. So after the winter, people were making this flower crowns. Then they were putting this onto the water and burning it as saying goodbye to the winter and saying hello to to the spring. So all of this is connected to the nature and how the nature is dictating human life in countryside. And now you have crops, now you have to cut the hay. Now you have to do this because it's going to be cold. It's going to be winter. We have to gather food to survive. Then you were using this deep sleep to rest, to prepare for the spring, and circles comes and again and again and again. So it's also for me, this ritual was related, to this loop which is in nature. But also you can find this loop in human life. We are getting bored, we die, we live between. So it's all part of one big cycle. I think it's, also I was questioning the aging, dealing with the aging of my grandmother. So somehow it's all connects. I didn't even, as I said before, I didn't plan it. It just happened, and then I had this photographs, which was just stays. That's what is cool about photography. You can always use it later. You can look back and connect things together. Maybe it's the time when you are start to create a project. Maybe it was before.
Yeah, it's an interesting project, and there's so many layers to it. I can see why you got an award for it, because it's got depth. It's really well shot. I love the portraits. I love how creative they are. I love how you shot the little tree stumps as if they were portraits too, and the combination of archive images, like looking back at the past. I thought they were it's a wonderful project. And so we'll stop sharing here so we can transition to the next one. But
sure.
I have one question for you. How do you see this project? Did it make its way into a book, or how have you shown this project?
I've shown it in a few exhibitions. I have a feeling that I maybe share it too early before I finish it. I'm thinking,
It happens.
it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
I wasn't experienced at all. I just sent because I wanted to get the feedback. Then I got the feedback. Someone said to me, "Hey, Thomas, send this here, send this here." So I've done it. Maybe too early. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe that's how it's supposed to be. But I would love to do the book of this project. I was struggling a lot, as I said before. I didn't know if it's finished or not finished. Should I supposed to do something more? If 20, 30 images is enough for the book, and that's it, and etc. etc. But I think it's finished now.
Yeah.
I've done another project between I finished this one. I needed to to rest, to leave it for a while, then come back. Yes, I think I'm gonna start to think about the book, how it's supposed to look like, the edition, slowly getting to that point.
Yeah, I know you said you were done with it. It's done to a certain degree, but as far as like putting those images together and probably pulling some old ones out that you didn't even think about, for a book would be really, really interesting. So just to transition into your next project, you're now doing another project, and this one you would say, this last one we just looked at, you said was more of like an intuitive approach, and this one you did something a little different. You actually planned it out a little bit more. So talk to me a little bit about that. I know you have an upcoming book release on this too, correct?
Yes, it's gonna happen at the end of the February. I'm really excited about it. It's gonna be first my book. How it started? It started with this idea of animistic gods, creatures from primeval times. I start to search for the place. Where could I find them? It's somehow related to my previous project for sure. So then by accident, I was traveling through Poland, and just by accident, we go to Lower Silesia in Poland. It's post-German territory. It just have this beautiful Gothic feeling there. You have a lot of abandoned palaces. You have tunnels dig by Nazis, and then you have these legends about them, about the creature livers, about the gold train with, if you're gonna find it, you will be rich till the end of your life. And also this landscape feels very real, not devastated by the capitalistic markets. You have a lot of nature there because of probably of the history. The Polish people wasn't so excited about creating something more there. It's getting more and more popular, unfortunately. So when we were just passing through this voivodeship of Poland, I catch this feeling, and I really wanted to go there, to explore it more. Then I found this opportunity, residency, that I can spend my time there. So I spent my last holidays there, 2 months. I created a lot of images. I started to work a little bit differently. I work also a little bit as I was looking for the local legends. I never done any research with my works before. I wanted to know as much as possible of Nova Ruda. That was the city I stayed. Yes, I was looking for animistic gods in Nova Ruda and in Lower Silesia. And I think I found some of them. For example, I found these beautiful, huge mushrooms in the caves. What I wanted to say, I work a little bit as a scout. I don't know if you know this profession. Like you're looking for locations for the movies.
Oh yeah. A location scout. Yeah, a location.
Yes, exactly. I spend a lot of time on Google Maps, on history books, because you have really a lot of places which are not popular, not demolished. You can find, for example, a cave. It's called, in Polish, it's bieda sztolnia. It's like poor human tunnel, because when miners lost their jobs, they start to digging for coal by themselves. And you have, for example, a lot of these things in Lower Silesia. So I was exploring it, and you could find this beautiful caves that looks like in a movie, like completely primeval, not destroyed by tourists, by humans. So it feels very real. I can share maybe some photos with you.
Of course, let's take a look. I think you I think you set it up perfectly. Yeah. Let's take a look.
Yeah, so maybe I will go through for the photos. At the end, I realized that all of this, beliefs, these mystical creatures I was looking for, they are not, they are hidden, but they are hidden in our subconsciousness. And somehow, I like to look at this like that somehow modern human, forget about that. We've created it before, we invented it, we gave them names, and then we abandoned them. So they had to hide somewhere. So traveling through that places and looking for these things were like looking for it in your subconsciousness somehow. I also like to imagine that you have some kind of cult in Lower Silesia who is still very primeval and is giving tribute, praying to some animistic god they choose. So it's some kind of anti-capitalistic, manifesto of me. I would say like that about this project.
Is it all black and white?
Yes, it's all black and white. I got rid of the color completely. I wanted, to create this feeling of looking at the photos. I wanted to go back to the past. I wanted to make it more unreal, at the same time give you this chills of a gothic novel or a weird sci-fi like Lovecraft.
That's fascinating. It's the animism is still showing up for you, and it's a fascination of yours. It seems like. What is it about that pulls you in? What is it about that makes you feel so creative? What is it about that magic that inspires you?
Man, I have no idea what's happening. It's just the things I follow, interests. Also, probably,
why?
We need to have some, maybe the lack of spirituality in modern days, maybe the lack of, this spiritual part of our life. Somehow my spiritual journey, again, is something really hard to describe. Again, I'm using images, relation between them to start talk about some this kind of part of our lives. I'm not the good speaker, so I'm trying, to communicate with you with the images, probably like every photographer and an artist. But I'm really bad at describing what I want to say. But images, I can give you clues. I can say what I was looking for. But the outcome of my work is especially this one, I think for everyone will be a little bit different. But I want to give you clues, push you into some tunnel to think about it, about this and that.
I guess that's what my question is this other thing that is, you had said something previously about we had given these I guess these energies, these some people call them spirits. I think a more appropriate word is energy. The spiritual energy that things and things have. And you said that we used to recognize them and we used to give them names, but we have forgotten about that. Do you feel like that in this time right now that you've noticed a kind of separation from our connection to the world, a connection to the planet, a connection to maybe spirituality per se? Do you feel like in some ways you're kind of grappling with that yourself in your work?
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm kind of, lost it, and I'm trying to catch it again. It's all started in this old countryside house. Now I'm just trying to, follow that path. But yeah, for sure, as you said, I'm maybe trying, to reconnect to our primal. I don't know if they are instincts or beliefs, but something that is related to our.
It's something else. Yeah. It's
we
not.
We have this layer, we have it. Inside of us, and it's somehow, especially I can see it in Poland, because the religion in Poland last years exactly was two politicians. They started, to support some party in Poland, the right wingers, but never mind. It's about that people, just reject it, and it's all this religion that's supposed to, support us kind of failed. And I can see it in myself. I really don't like Christianity and how the church worked in Poland last years, maybe last decade. But at the same time, I really miss this this spiritual. I need this part of my life, the spiritual part. It's not about going to heaven after you die. It's about something more, than going to work, buying, doing something. I think we some kind of forgot about this layer. I'm speaking about myself, maybe some of my friends. Probably not everyone, not trying to generalize all the people in the world, but yeah, for sure. Some people probably can relate to that.
No, I totally do. It's I think you're speaking to something that is very real, and especially with if you think about the institutions that are religion, and in a lot of ways, people find themselves, at a certain point, kind of looking at that and questioning it or whatever, and our society for a long time has been doing that now for the past few decades. And it's interesting. And what I'm seeing here too is as you spoke, I saw young Thomas again, who decided to just tear everything away and just go and re-put things back together. And in the same regard, when you're looking at your spirituality, you're doing the same thing. You're kind of like, rip it all away. There is something here that is spiritual. It's true. There's something there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But let me look at all the different things, that have kind of created that. Or what do I feel? What's my intuition say? I think there's an adventurous nature to your work. There's a investigative nature to your work. You're asking tough questions, and you are, in your own way, using a camera to kind of speak that way. And I know you said previously that you're struggling to kind of speak about your work, but your images are doing that very, very well. And the little words that you're giving us, or whatever you feel like you're not giving us, you're giving us enough to kind of go, oh, I see what you're doing. And it's really, really interesting. And I think a lot of people right now, especially right now, and young people especially, are finding themselves in a place where they find themselves at odds with the institutions where they were raised or what was developed, and they're trying to make their way and trying to figure out what the world is now. And I think you're doing an interesting job with this. And you're not showing us every image here. How many images did you take, and how did the book make its way into a form?
You can find 36 images in the book.
Wow.
I shared with you 12 of them.
No, you're gonna have to get the book.
Yeah, I can show you the book. I just pick it up today from the printer.
Yeah, let's take a look.
It's look like that.
Wow, that's awesome. And it's with Rust,
really
correct?
Yes, it's with Rust. It's a publishing house run by my friends from Krakow. So it was really pleasure to work with them. I think we're gonna do something more together. Not especially my works, but I really enjoyed the process of making the book. I also learned how to prepare images for printing. So most of these things were done by myself and my friend. So yeah, it's really cool. I love to look at the photo books, and I would love to do more with it. And also, I haven't told you. The title of my book is "In Praise of Shadows." Of shadow, and it's somehow also related to how our Western world, is do this category that light is good, shadow is bad. So somehow all these things that we rejected hide in the place that is not interesting for us humans. I like to look at that. And also title is related to the book of Inchiro Tanizaki, the Japanese writer who wrote about the shadow, and he compared our Western world to Japanese culture, where the shadow is something they glorify it, and also how the Japanese people treat the nature, treat the forest. How I think we could learn something about that from them, because their forests, for example, are really restricted areas. They taking care of it. They are not cutting trees. For example, in Poland, last 2 years were really horrible. They cut a lot of woods, to close gaps in the budget of the country. So we've lost like a lot of green areas, and the trees are not growing that fast, man.
Yeah, and some of those trees are old. And I had a previous guest on that was talking about the receding forest and the line that as it was moving back. And it's something to reflect on for sure. It's our impact. I do have a question for you. The question is what was it like for you to put together a book? What was the hardest part, do you think?
I haven't, realized how much work it is at the beginning. I've done like 5 different editions of the photos, for example. I wanted to publish right now, but then after, 5 months, I had 100 different of them. So choosing the right edition, choosing the right photos, also, throwing out the ones that, for example, telling you too much, I think is the crucial part of the book. Then we work with the design, then how the letters should looks like, how the cover should be. It should be like fancy or maybe more minimalistic. So all of that was something completely new. And also there is one more thing in the book. There is a text, a small novel wrote by my girlfriend, Aleksandra Przybysz. She's also a really good writer, and it's also in English. It's beautiful poem, novel. Let's say it's more like a novel. So it's, yeah, I'm really happy about that. And it was like a lot of work putting all together. After going through that process, I would really love to do the next book, to finish the project which we talked about.
So is Rust? Are you a part of that company as well, or is that just?
I wouldn't say it's a company.
It's not talk to me about it. It's
It's a small, really small. The guys just started it. It's run by Jakub Szachnowski. He's from Krakow, and he started with his friend Heiner, who is from Germany. They somehow meet. I think it was also in Lower Silesia, so that's the fun fact. I met Kuba during the studies in Czech Republic, but we are from the same city, so it's also funny. And we start to work on this book. Then I wasn't the person who just give all the things to the publisher and do something with it. I really wanted to, have a lot of influence on how this book is going to look like at the end. And during that process, it was really fun to work with both guys. And I think I'm becoming part of it very slowly, but I think I'm gonna be sucked into it. Can I say like this?
Well, you now have the book bot. You've been bitten by the bug, I guess. Once you start making photo books, it seems like a lot of photographers, once they start making those, they don't stop. It's just a series of books after that. So you have the bug, I guess, is what you. That's awesome. I can't wait to see it. You have a very adventurous style, and it's very creative. And I like the questions you're asking. I think the things that you're thinking about are extremely current, and I think it's really, really interesting. And so I'll just finish with one question for you, which is. I have a lot of people that follow this show, and they are up and coming artists, or they are artists themselves, and they're working. Do you have any advice for anybody that's trying to make their way as artists today?
No, man.
I ask this to everybody.
That's tough one. I think
they're gonna put this quote on a T-shirt. They're gonna put this quote on a T-shirt. Thomas says.
Oh no, man! It's gonna sounds even more cliche now. I think. I'm thinking, I think that the best advice is, just to don't listen to anyone. Just try to, follow this voice inside of you, and you for sure are hearing it. But at some point, maybe, you decline it. You are not 100% sure, but if you have even the smallest feeling that you should do something, then you probably have to do it for 100%. I think that's the thing I followed for sure. I'm not sure if it's gonna work for everyone, and sounds tricky, but I think it's a good idea of pursuing your dream. If you want to do something, then you should definitely not question it, do it. Probably you're gonna have like a lot of ideas how to do it. I also don't like to plan too much. I don't like to think too much about how to do something. If you have idea, just do it. If it's gonna work, it's gonna work. If it's not gonna work, then you're gonna do it again, but in a different way. So it's also important, to just don't close yourself and stop working.
I love that. It's so true. It's, you said something too that was along those lines that I read in an interview from you. You said, there's no idea that is a bad idea.
Yeah, that's true.
No idea that's a bad idea. So just do it and see what happens and kind of go for it. And I think that's really, really interesting. And I love that advice. I think it's so true, especially when you're leaning into your creative side. And maybe I do have one more question for you.
And, I can have one more advice. Just watch Twin Peaks. It's gonna help you, to see how Cooper works. It's gonna, it is connecting with your creativity.
That's awesome. Twin Peaks, you said?
Yes. Have you seen it?
Yep. No. What are you talking about? Where is that from?
It's made by David Lynch. It's old series. Yeah, for sure you have to watch it, man. It's a great adventure.
Really? Well, actually, I was going to ask one more question, but you had said your ideas, and this is the last one, and I'm kind of curious about this idea of the mystical, and I'm noticing a common thread between you, and it even showed up in your advice, and so like you were talking about this voice inside you. How important is the mystical to you? Can you put a word to it? Or are you someone that believes that there's something bigger than you? Like, talk to me about that, because I'm seeing it all over your work and everything you say.
Yeah, for sure there is something. I'm not saying it's a god. Maybe it's an energy. Maybe it's one big loop, and everything is repeating. I cannot stick with the one idea, but I am, 100% sure that, there is something more. Maybe it's, quantum physics. Maybe it's some kind of another dimension. Maybe it's all starting and again and again and again. I'm not sure, but I love to believe that there is something, and that's probably helps me keep going and doing stuff.
It's awesome.
But
we have a lot in common there. I think about a lot of that stuff quite a bit, and as you travel and you get out into the world, you start to realize the little box that you had yourself in was way too small for you, and when you go back and you start to kind of make sense of the world, putting yourself in that small box no longer fits. And so there's lots of questions and explorations that happen. I love how you create with it, and it's very inspirational. So tell us how we can connect with you. What's the best way to connect with you? Are you on Instagram?
You can find me in the Instagram. You can find me in the Instagram. You can find me probably in the Facebook. I have a website.
What's your handle?
Mm-hmm.
What's your handle? What is your name? Username?
In Instagram, it's Pan Remembrance. That was something weird that I've done many years ago, and you can always connect with me through email, through my website. Always trying to repeat to everyone. Probably will take me 2 to 5 days, but I will do it. Yeah, that's it. You can find it on Facebook, Instagram, website, mail, old school ways.
That's great. And then also, how can people get the book?
How you can get the book? You can go to the rustpublishing.com. You can hit me on the Instagram. I will try, to share as much as possible in the next days. We are still working with with the advertising, with posts, with how to promote the book. We're gonna try to send this to as many bookstores as possible. We have 500 copies to sell, so probably we're gonna try to send them. You're gonna definitely find it in Berlin, in Warsaw, in Poland, but I think the best way to buy it is just go to the website, rustpublishing.com, and you will find it there for sure.
Well, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show today. It was just wonderful having you.
Thank you for having me. It was great talking.
Of course. And to everyone that's made it this far, thank you so much for joining us on the Urbanaut Podcast. If you like content like this, consider liking, sharing, and commenting. That helps us with the algorithm. It's a huge thing that helps us grow and get this in front of more people. And if you also want to help support us in a different way, think about joining our patreon.com channel. That is a great way to support channels like this and keep us running. And as always, we'll see you next time.